The ancient Hebrews never uttered the name of God that was revealed to Moses on Sinai. That name was written in the pages of the Bible, but was too sacred to be pronounced. And to this day, Jews name God indirectly as Adonai, Lord, the word our mouths are allowed to speak, our ears to hear. Yet that very act of refusing to name God is a recognition of how profoundly our human lives are intertwined with this unfathomable mystery, this holy being in whom we ourselves live and move and have our being. And so, of course, we must speak to the God we cannot name. And the Psalms are our best guide for speaking truly to God and of God. And what the psalmists show us is that poetry is the best way to do that. Poet Christian Wyman said, "Poetry takes us to the edge of the world, gets us beyond experience, gets us into the ineffable. When faced with the actual ineffable, we don't want more of it. We want some way of apprehending the world right in front of us that is slipping away." Poetry uses metaphor to express what cannot be uttered. Metaphor is the essential language of the arts. It's a way to introduce something new, never before encountered, in a way that we might begin to know it. What is more necessarily knowable and yet clouded from us in holiness than a creator whose name is unutterable? And so the poets who wrote the Psalms use metaphor to point us to truths about God, truths that cannot be explained in ordinary language. They have to be seen, experienced deeply. The truth of God is experienced not on the other side of metaphor, but through metaphor. Through the Psalms, we come to know more of God and more of ourselves. Perhaps here, in these ancient poems, we come to touch the really real about both our very human reality and the reality of impossible mystery. How do we name impossible mystery? Throughout the history of the church, these psalms have been put to music so that we can experience the ineffable as we sing songs. And when the words of the song are inadequate, we let instruments and orchestras and mighty organs with the ability to create almost infinite sounds attempt to express what we cannot. Painters and sculptors create visual expressions of the Psalms so that we might enter into these metaphors with our eyes and experience them via another avenue. Dancers embody these metaphors. Through the combination of rhythm, music, breath, and body, they flesh out metaphor as they partake in being imago Dei and open us to more ways of knowing ourselves, but also more ways of knowing the Creator God whose image we bear. In dancing the Psalms, they show us the Word become flesh. How do we name impossible mystery? How do we visualize and translate things that cannot be uttered, things that are more real than our reality? How do we comprehend and live in our reality and at the same time in relationship with this great mystery? The ancient Hebrews gave us the Psalms. The Creator gave us the creation, our own existence as imago Dei, male and female. He created us. So as you watch and listen to the 3 Psalms we're going to offer you, keep the ears and eyes of your heart open to new ways of knowing through these new experiences. Reality, embodied, and at the same time, impossible mystery, an ineffable God and ineffable times. Yet we have these Psalms, remarkably the only part of the Bible formulated explicitly as human speech, packaged and ready to be put into our mouths, and what is more, ready to be explored with our whole selves, body and soul. Through the arts, they become metaphors to be experienced, and we can become more open to knowing what cannot be uttered.